Hey you guys, just wanted to come by and let you know how my closing went yesterday. I'm just so tired. Yesterday after my closing, I maybe went and dropped off a couple things that had been sitting in my trunk. But other than that, I went home and I went to bed. Like, I'm just tired. Even now, I had every intention of making today productive and going over there and like hanging up curtains, and nope. It's 12:15, and after running a couple errands, I'm going back home to go back to sleep. So anyway, so yesterday, I may not seem as like super hype as I should be, but it's kind of like this love-hate relationship with NACA. So anyhow, I actually ended up working the night before. I worked 14 hours, changed my clothes in the car, met my realtor over at the house to do the final walkthrough yesterday morning, and then headed over to the office. Closing took maybe 30 minutes. Just signing papers, them explaining like the breakdown of like my cash to close, and which, by the way, ended up being way less than, I won't say way less, but significantly lower than what I was originally told. Like when I got my initial disclosure, which was back in July, the cash to close was about $1,000 more than what I actually had to bring. And so that was a nice surprise. Also, the late fees that I've been or had been incurring. Well, the seller, when the bank sent, I guess, certain paperwork for them to verify the final figures, the seller did not include my late fees. So it was not included in my cash to close. So I'm just saving money around here. But closing was smooth. It was really weird. It was a little weird because, when somebody closes, your mortgage counselor will come say congratulations, your housing counselor, anybody who was involved in your process. And my mortgage counselor I guess he was nervous. He was speaking to my realtor, but he didn't really want to come in because he knew how stressful my process was. He knew how much drama was involved with my closing. He knew how messed up my file was. He was aware of all of the jacked up things that I had to experience. So he really wanted to steer clear. Like, he didn't even want to be in the same room. And eventually he did come in, but all he was really saying was, I didn't have anything to do with this and that, and it was so-and-so's fault, and, everybody playing the blame game. But, there was a time where I was stuck in credit access for 3 weeks almost because this same counselor wouldn't process my file. He wouldn't respond to my conditions, and he was ignoring my emails. So everybody had a role in my process being so stressful. So anyway, they pretty much kind of kept their distance, and I was totally cool with that. But I will say NACA requires you to write a testimony. So it's required as part of the closing. So I had to write a testimony. At the end of the day, all I talked about was the positive things about the mortgage and not the experience, because my experience was horrible. But I did note the positive things about my interest rate and my payment being less. And now also, NACA requires a video testimony as well. Like, they are forcing you to provide testimonies. I'm like, well, what if you had a horrible experience? Like, it, and of course, they're not going to allow you to say those things. So they're basically forcing you to bypass all of the negative stuff and will only let you talk about, like your interest rate and you like saving money and your mortgage being lower than your rent. Like, those are the only things they'll really let you talk about. They won't let you talk about nothing else. Meanwhile, they're forcing you for your, like, to give your opinion, which I think is a bunch of bull crap. So I'm so over NACA. I'm so done with NACA. Closing was short and sweet. What else? I don't really even know what else to say. I know I was going to come back with a video kind of filling you guys in, filling in the gaps, because the last video I posted was a couple weeks ago, and there had been a lot of things that had happened in between then to get me to closing, and I just kind of decided at this point it just isn't even really worth talking about anymore. It's not important. Because at the end of the day, I made it to the finish line. I closed on my home. But somebody did ask a question, and I've been thinking about this for a few days, and even prior to closing, I had thought about, okay, what is my real, genuine, like, opinion about NACA? And I'm so sorry I forget your name, but somebody in the comments, she was just like, I knew you would make it through, but in your honest opinion, like, is it worth it? And so here is what I have to say about NACA, and is it worth it? I would say if you were someone who absolutely has to have, like, okay, so everybody wants to take advantage of buy down. Everybody wants to take advantage of this lower mortgage rate, the no PMI. Everybody out here buying a house would love to have that kind of loan package. But for some, you're actually able to, I'm getting emails about a loan from somewhere else. Like, anyway, I lost my train of thought. Oh, if you are somebody who has good credit already, who has good pay history, decent credit score, you've already got some savings, and you don't mind PMI, and you can afford a little bit of a larger payment, I would say no, NACA's not worth it. It's kind of, it's like this, I don't know, the mortgage is so great, but what you go through to get to the mortgage, to get to the closing day, that is not worth it. That is not worth it. If there was a way, and not everybody is going to have a hard time with NACA. I know there's somebody on YouTube who had posted a video, and she was like, really, and I mean, really, this is like no shade to her. I don't even remember her name, but this is a video that I had seen way before I started my journey, and I just remember watching it, and I'm just like, But she was just like really like bubbly, and she was just like, my process was smooth and everything was just great. Like, I'm not buying it. I just don't believe that. I don't believe anybody goes through NACA. NACA's not designed to be smooth. I don't care what they talk about with their 28-day streamlined process. It's not happening. It's not happening at all. Because there's always something that's going to go wrong. NACA is blowing up so big. They don't have enough staff that cannot handle the volume. They're not a well-oiled machine. I think they used to run like more efficiently, but because of the volume of applicants they have, they're rushing through things. They're making mistakes. Files are not as tight as they used to be. There's a lot of loose ends. There's a lot of like mess in between. So I just wasn't buying the whole NACA is like super, super simple and smooth and unproblematic. I just don't even think that's realistic based off of pretty much everyone else I've talked to who's gone through NACA forums. I think that that's a rare thing if you have a simple and smooth process. So for those reasons, if you've got a medical condition, heart condition, high blood pressure, like NACA, it's not the thing. It's not the thing because I struggle with severe anxiety, panic attacks, all of those things. And like I was having chest pains, y'all. I was vomiting through this process. I was literally eating my stress away. It just is so tormenting. NACA is so mentally tormenting that if you have other options, take those other options. Go the other way. Like sometimes you have to look, is the savings worth your mental health, your physical health? Is the savings worth you taking a chance, like the savings in terms of the mortgage payment? Is the savings worth you taking the chance of losing your earnest money, potentially paying late fees? Like, is it worth you potentially being homeless? Is it worth you losing your deal because the seller's tired of NACA, and then you having to go rent an apartment and sign another lease and then wait another 12 months? Like, is it worth it? Absolutely not. It's not worth it. And for those of us who are lucky enough and blessed enough to get through this process, there are still people out here who don't get through the process and who lose. And as good as NACA is supposed to be, and as beneficial and as great of a program that it's supposed to be changing the whole mortgage game, NACA is a predatory program. It is. I don't care what anybody says. Like, this is my personal opinion. I don't want to say they prey on the weak, because everybody who goes into NACA, we know that we're taking a chance because we have done our due diligence. We have done our research. We have been in these forums. We are watching YouTube videos. We are basically stalking any and everything, all things NACA. So we are well aware of how difficult it's going to be. And we understand that there may be at the end, there may be the potential for us to not succeed with this program. And when you start to get to the point where people are under contract, they should be a priority. People under contract are no longer a priority. These people at the Achieve the Dream events are the priority. These are people who are walking in, getting qualified, and then all of a sudden they get pushed to the top of the list when you have people who were already there before them. And it's just like the focus is not on existing members. The focus with NACA is on getting more members. And so when you're just dealing with a program like that, it just doesn't feel good. Like, you're not in good hands. Like, honestly, everybody's overwhelmed. Everybody's overworked. They're getting more and more applicants by the day, more and more members by the day, more and more contracts by the day. They already can't handle the volume. It's only going to get worse because they're hiring, but the turnover is horrible. So again, to answer the question, if I felt like NACA was worth it, I will only say it was worth it because I got my house. And that was all God. Y'all, when I tell you some of the stuff that I experienced the last couple of weeks, things that I can't even explain, and I still got my house. Like, that was nothing but God. God blessed me with this home, because NACA tried to sabotage me in so many ways, and I'm even on the fence about even going into detail about that. But some of the people on my closing team, and you can't tell me otherwise, I sincerely feel like they were rooting for me to lose. They were working for me to lose. That's why I say, by the grace of God, I got my house, because there were people who wanted to see me lose my home, who wanted to see me lose my money. And these were the same people working on my file. And that's why I struggled for so long for the past month just trying to close, because there were things that kept happening and kept being discovered throughout this process that let me know, like, people don't care. They don't care about us like that. And they are willing to sit back and watch you lose, watch your family be turned upside down. They're willing to allow those sad endings when they could do something to change it, and they won't. So I'm thankful that I am done with my process. I am going to go and do a home tour, but because I already had done a house tour when I was just out house hunting, I decided that I didn't want to do another one until I begin to like move some stuff in and maybe decorate. So probably in the next couple of weeks, I am going to do a home tour, but I just kind of felt like there wasn't a point because I currently have an empty house tour. Like, I already have it posted, and I made it public again. I made all my videos public again. So yeah, I'm not going to do that right now. Right now, I'm just going to catch up on some rest. I'm going to like take care of me for a few days, and then I'm going to gear up to start moving my things. I was able to get more time in my rental. It cost me some extra money, but it was better than being homeless. So anyway, I am going to come back with another video for people who want another option outside of NACA, because last Thursday, before I found out that I was underwriter clear to close, I had actually been referred to another lender who had a different program. I had applied, and I'm telling y'all, within 24 hours, I had all my loan documents, I had my disclosure, and I had a closing date that was set for 2 weeks. Like, their average closing time is 2 weeks. They offer no mortgage insurance, but your interest rate is a little bit higher. They do offer down payment assistance. They actually will roll it over into your loan. They also offer 1% of your sales price. They'll give you that amount towards your closing. What else? Credit score needs to be, I think, 660. Their DTI, debt to income ratio, is 50%. NACA's was 40, so you can actually have a little more debt and still qualify for this loan. So for those of you who are interested in just having a backup, because I was this close, y'all, they had sent me all the loan docs. I was getting ready to sign, getting ready to commit, and then I found out that I was underwriter clear to close. So God was working while I was trying to have a plan B. God was working. So anyhow, I am going to come back and talk about that and provide that information. The loan officer, he is in Georgia, but I believe he's licensed in all 50 states. So if you live in other areas and want to even consider maybe using this loan product as a backup, if you are having struggles with NACA, if it's just taking too long, if you're in jeopardy of losing your home, and can afford a little bit higher payment, then, and this is a conventional loan, it's not FHA. So anyway, I will be back to provide that information, but I'm about to go in my house, my current house where I live. I'm just going to take a nap and get some sleep. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for being so supportive. Thank you for checking in with me. I received messages. People are wanting to know how my closing went. So this video is just for everybody who has followed me and who has been cheering me on and waiting for me to get to the finish line. I made it, y'all. So, thank God it is over for me, but I am still going to try to stay active. I will still continue to answer questions for anybody who has questions about the process, even new people who are watching older videos. I always try to make it a point to respond or at least like every single comment that I get on every single video. So if you guys still have questions, I'm not going to disappear, because I still want to at least show you things that I'm going to be doing with my home as I'm getting adjusted. So thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.